Hello everyone. Today we're going to build a social media publishing workflow with OpenClaw and n8n. So here I'm telling OpenClaw to promote this video that we just published last week. And now we can see that OpenClaw is running this workflow, and immediately it returns me a draft that I can publish to both Facebook and LinkedIn. And here you can just read this draft, and if you're happy with that, you can just click approve and open the URL. And now you can see it says it has been successfully published. So let's check our Facebook page and also LinkedIn page. So this is our LB Social Facebook page. And you can see, yes, it is published. And let's also check my LinkedIn page. Okay, great. It's also published. This is what we're going to do today. So we're going to send URL from Telegram, and that will be sent to our AI agent. In this case, it is OpenClaw, and it will invoke this webhook n8n workflow. So we'll use part of our previous workflow. So for example, we're going to get the YouTube metadata, and this time we're going to use Gemini. So we are using the AI model to draft a post. And then we'll manually review that post and also approve that. So once we approved, it will be sent out to the social media platform. And also we'll receive the status back to the Telegram as well. Technically, you can use this workflow to post to most of the social media platforms like X or Twitter, Facebook, and also LinkedIn. For each of the platforms, so first you have to have an developer account, where you will be able to get those authorizations such as API keys, tokens. So for Twitter, they are all just independent authorizations. We're not going to use Twitter is because the API is not free. So right now, if you want to send out post on your own Twitter account, you have to pay for that API use. For Facebook, you also need to have a developer account, and from there, you are going to have your app that's being authorized. So this process is pretty complicated, so we are not going to do that as well. And also for Facebook, so you can have a personal profile, you can also have a company public page profile. And once you have your app that's being approved, and it's very easy to send out a post to this public page, but it is very hard to use API to send out anything to a personal profile. So for LinkedIn, so you also need to have a developer account. And the key difference is that to register that account, you must have a company page on LinkedIn, which is also free to create. So once you have your company page, you can get an app, and with that app, you will be able to get those authorizations. Once you have that authorization, the story kind of the opposite to the Facebook. So with that app, so you can easily publish a post to your personal account. However, if you want to post to your company page, that normally need extra permission. So today's plan is that we're going to use LinkedIn. You need to create your company page if you want to follow with me. And we're going to develop this app. From that app, we're going to get this authorization. And from there, we're going to use n8n to send post to our personal account. All right, so let's continue. So now I just use VS Code to SSH to the Google Cloud VM. So before we get the LinkedIn app, so we first need to set up the callback URL. And the easiest way to set up the callback is to use the Tailscale. So if you don't know how to set up Tailscale, please check the previous tutorial. Let's look at the server status. So we are able to use this URL to access the OpenClaw dashboard. So basically, we're going to forward this port that is for n8n to use a Tailscale URL. All right, so now we can use this URL to access our n8n. And next, we're going to find out this env file. And from here, we're going to type two more commands. So this is n8n editor-based URL and also the webhook URL. So now let's just go ahead and also restart. All right, so now if we refresh the dashboard, and now we can see that it's working. So why do we need a callback URL? So let's go to the credentials. And here we're looking for the LinkedIn. So let's choose a second one. And let's go to continue. So this is where you need your app ID and also your app secret. And you can see here, this is a callback URL. Because now we're using the Tailscale, so we're able to use this URL. So instead of a local callback URL. All right, so let's first copy this callback URL. And now we're going to the linking developer account. And here you can create an app. So you can give it a name. You must to have a company page. Again, the company page is free to create. So here you can see I just provided our LB Social company page. And the privacy policy is optional. And the app logo is required. So I just uploaded our LB Social logo. And also you can just go ahead and create the app. All right, so next we're going to request to access. So we need to use this one, share on LinkedIn, and also sign in on LinkedIn. So let's request that access. Okay, this one was approved. And let's also check the second one. Okay, so those two are approved. And now if you go to this authentication page, and you will be able to find out your client ID and also your client secret. You should not share this one with anyone. And also here you can see that they also ask you callback URL. So here let's just provide our callback URL and also click save. And the next you just need to copy your client ID and the secret and back to n8n. All right, so here back to n8n. So I provided my secret and also the client ID. We do need to uncheck those two options because we're not going to manage our organizations. So next you can just connect LinkedIn. So here you just log in with your LinkedIn account. And you can see once it is connected, this authentication is ready to use. So now we have the credentials. We're going to start to build the workflow. We already have one that we created earlier from the previous tutorials. So let's just make a copy of this one. And here just call it social publishing and human approval. So just recall what we did in the previous video. So we sent out a URL in Telegram and OpenClaw will pass that URL to the n8n workflow. So in this video, let's just remove those nodes. I'm also going to disconnect the webhook. For testing purposes, we provide a URL. We extract the YouTube ID and we find out metadata and we clean the data and then we build the documents. You can see here those are the output. All right, so our next step is that we're going to call in a large language model to generate a draft for the linking. So here we're going to use AI. And here you can see you can choose the model that you want to use. So I'm going to use Gemini since we have the free Gemini API key. And here we're going to choose message model. So now you can see the previous node will be the input. And here we are using our existing Gemini API key. And our source will be text. From the model list, we're going to choose a cheaper one. So we're going to use 2.5 Flash. I'm just copy and paste this prompt. So basically, you can see that we are going to create a LinkedIn promotional post for this YouTube tutorial. And here we provided the requirements and also this document text so that it cleaned text that from the previous node. We also keep that simplified output. And also we make sure that the output content as a JSON document. All right, so let's just try it. So here we can pass this one to the Gemini. And here you can see those are post draft. Nice. So we're going to call this one a draft, Gemini draft. And we're going to close this node. So now we have the Gemini draft. We need to get exact draft part that we can post. So let's just add one more node. All the code will be provided on LB Social. Let's run this node. Okay, nice. So now we have the exact the linking post. The best practice is that we still need human to preview post. So here we're going to use approval node. So here let's just go to the human review. So let's keep using Telegram. And because this is our first time using Telegram, so we're going to set up the credentials. And the credential is the same as we did in the OpenClaw. So here you just need to provide the bot tokens. You can go to bot father and also find a bot you want to use and also just click this one and you will be able to see the bot token. So I just copy and paste the bot token and save that. You need to give it the chat ID, which is ID of your Telegram account. And next, you need to define the message. So here we provided the draft in this message and we ask you to review. And next, so the response type is approval. So it's approve only. All right, so let's do a test. So let's run it. And you can see that you receive this message. Please review this draft post. If you click approval, and you need to click this link to send the response back. So I just sent. All right. So now let's add a logic. So which means that if people approve it, and then we'll continue post. So here, let's go to flow, and we're going to choose if. So here we're going to define the condition. So here we see the approved value. The value is a Boolean value, and also if that is true, and then we'll continue. All right. So here you can see you have two options. So one is true, and also one is false. So if that's true, and we're going to continue to use the linking post. So we're going to search linking, and here we're going to say create a post. So we're going to use existing credentials. We're going to post as person because we're using our individual account, and also name. So this is my account name, and also text. So we're going to use a previous text. All right, so that is approved draft. Let's do a very quick test. We're going to use our authentication to post as a personal account to my current profile, and also the text is this one. All right, so looks like it is success. So let's go to my linking page, and let's just refresh. All right, so very nice. We can see that post has been published. So let me just delete. So now you can see this entire workflow is working. So now let's just move them back to the webhook. So first I'm going to delete this one. So we are going to receive the message in Telegram. So I'm going to deactivate that, and I'm going to connect the webhook. And also I'm going to send a response to the webhook as well. All right, so now it's ready to publish. So I'm going to publish, and I'm going to ignore everything for now. So this webhook has been published. So now we're going to test that one in Telegram. Okay, so this is a Telegram bot. The best way to use that is to create a skill. Okay, so let's enable the skill create mode. So I'm going to send this prompt. Again, everything will be posted on our LB social. So basically, we gave the name, the purpose, and also most importantly, so what is a webhook URL, and also how to use that one, so the format. So now we can see that AI is trying to create that skill. And now it says the skill is ready to use. So let's give it a try. So let's say promote our latest video that is talking about create OpenClaw on workspace. All right, so here I got an error. Looks like I forgot to change the webhook URL. Let me go back to the webhook. So that should be the right path. Not only change the flow name, but you need to also change the workflow URL. All right, so and also just republish it. Let's give it another try. So we're going to promote the same video. AI is asking us to whether or not to approve this one. So you can see the draft is that AI agent for low cost, and also we have the URLs, and we also have the hashtags. So I'm going to approve this one. So the post has been successfully published to the linking. All right, so let's go ahead and also check our linking. So I'm going to refresh. So now you can see we have our new post that being published, talking about a low-cost, free way to deploy OpenClaw. So that's today's tutorial. So with one simple quest, OpenClaw sends the URL to n8n, and Gemini creates a linking post, and Telegram asks for human approval. And only after approval does n8n publish the post. So this is a key pattern. So AI handles the repetitive work while human keeps control of the final decision. In this tutorial, and we focus on linking, personal publishing. So technically, the same workflow can be extended to other platforms.